You ever wonder how these huge companies, the Apples or the Amazons of the world, actually decide to work with a brand new supplier? I can tell you it is definitely not as simple as a handshake. So today we're going to pull back the curtain on the very first and maybe most critical step, the supplier request process.
So let's just start with a massive challenge that every big organization has to deal with. You found this amazing new partner you want to work with, but before any money or contracts get signed, how do you make absolutely certain they're for real and get them properly plugged into all your systems? Well, the answer isn't some casual email chain. It's actually a pretty high-stakes digital journey. It's carefully, meticulously designed to protect the business from risk, to make sure everyone's compliant, and to set the stage for smooth, secure transactions way down the line. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with why this whole journey is so important in the first place. Then we'll map out the entire process. After that, we'll dive right into creating the actual supplier request, see where a manager's approval fits in, and then find out what happens after that. All right, let's really get into it. Before we even think about clicking a single button, we have to understand the why behind all this. I know it can feel like a bunch of bureaucratic steps, so why bother? What's the point of all these forms and approvals? It really all boils down to one thing: creating a single source of truth. Think of it like a digital passport for every single supplier. You verify who they are, you do it once, right up front, and that creates this trusted foundation for every single interaction from that point on, from sourcing new parts all the way to sending that final payment. Now, this whole supplier lifecycle, it's not random, especially when you're working inside a powerful system like SAP Ariba's SLP module. The whole thing follows a very clear, very logical path. Okay, so the journey always starts with a request. That's what we're focused on today. After that, it moves to registration, then qualification, and if they're really good, they might become a preferred supplier. But here's the thing: none of those other steps can happen, zero, until you clear this first one. The request is the absolute mandatory gateway. All right, time to make this real. I want you to imagine you're a buyer at a big company. You just found an incredible new supplier, and you need to get them set up in the system so you can start working with them. So what do you do first? Well, there are basically two front doors to this whole process. One is what we call an external request, where a supplier finds a link on your company's website and applies. But honestly, the much more common way and the path we're going to follow is the internal request, kicked off by somebody like our buyer who's already inside the company. So your first step seems almost laughably simple. You go find the Create Supplier Request button and you type in the supplier's name. But right there, that very simple action triggers something incredibly powerful and really, really important. And boom, there it is. Before you can even move forward, the system instantly scans your entire database to see if the supplier might already exist. Now, this isn't just a nice little feature. This duplicate check is the system's first line of defense against creating messy, confusing data. It prevents the absolute nightmare of having, 5 different records for the exact same partner. Okay, so once you've confirmed this is a brand new supplier, you'll see a form pop up asking for the basics. We're just talking name, address, a contact person, and a quick reason for why you need them. The key here is to just focus on the mandatory fields, the ones with the little star next to them. Just enough info to get the ball rolling. But hitting that submit button doesn't mean you're done. Not at all. Really, you've just started a handoff. Your request is now officially in the workflow, and it's about to land on someone else's desk. And that next person is usually a manager. You can think of them as the human checkpoint, the gatekeeper. Their whole job at this point is to look over what you've submitted, give it a quick sanity check, and make sure there's a good business reason for bringing this new supplier into the fold. So this manager has 3 pretty simple choices. They can approve it and send it along. They can deny it if something just doesn't look right. Or, and this happens a lot, they can send it back to you and say, hey, I need a little more information on this. So what happens in that split second after the manager clicks approve? This is actually the moment of creation. In that instant, the supplier goes from just being a request, an idea, to having an official, real identity inside your company's digital universe. And that one little click is what creates the supplier's foundational profile. You'll see their status literally flip from in approval to approved, and just like that, they have a digital home. This becomes the anchor point for absolutely everything else that's going to happen with them.
Now, behind the scenes, the system is going to work, automatically spitting out a whole bunch of unique ID numbers. You've got one ID just for the Ariba system, another one that helps it talk to the accounting software, maybe a few others for network connections. Think of each ID like a different key that unlocks a different door, making sure everything integrates perfectly.
This Supplier 360 profile is now the official record. It's that single source of truth we talked about earlier. From this point forward, every single thing, every contract, every performance review, every single dollar spent, it's all going to be tracked right here in this one central dashboard.
Okay, so we did it. The supplier is officially in the system. They've got a profile, their status is approved, so we're good to go, right? We can start sending them purchase orders and cutting checks?
Whoa, not so fast. Getting approved is really just the entry ticket. It gets them in the door. The real data collection, the heavy lifting, that all happens in the next phase, registration. That's when we invite the supplier to the party to provide all the serious details, like their banking info, their tax forms, compliance documents, but that's a whole other story for another explainer.